And welcome into another edition of the Kanawha Valley Sports Notebook. I'm your host, Taylor Kennedy. Thank you all for joining me. However you may be listening or watching this program, you can follow me on Twitter at Taylor_Kennedy7 for all the latest about this show and much more going on here across this great area in the Kanawha Valley. You can follow the Gazette Mail on Twitter at Gazette Mail Sports on Twitter. And you can also subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. We are also on YouTube, so go give us a subscribe there as well. We will try and get back into the motion of doing these on a weekly basis. I know I've been away for a few weeks, but it's just been super hectic with football season. But hey, look, we're back. We're back in the studio, and we're ready to get ready for week 6 of the high school football season. What we're going to do is this. In this segment, we are going to announce and unveil our week 5 HD Media and Building and Construction Trades of West Virginia Player of the Week. We will do that here in just 1 second. We'll hear from Rick Lord on that player. Then coming up in our next segment, we'll be hearing from Joey Fields, the head football coach of the Herbert Hoover Huskies, as they head into their week 6 matchup against the Chapmanville Tigers, who enter 3-2 on the season following a loss last week. So we'll do that coming up in our second segment. Then in our final segment, we will take a look at the slate for this weekend's high school football week 6, and we will look at teams from here across the Kanawha Valley, who's playing, who's going up against who. We'll do that coming up in our third segment as well. As I mentioned before, let's unveil and unravel our week 5 HD Media Building and Construction Trades of West Virginia Player of the Week, and that is none other than, you thought I was going to give it away, didn't you? I'm not like that. I'll let Rick Lord take it away. Rick, who is our Player of the Week from Week 5?
The HD Media Building and Construction Trades Player of the Week is Herbert Hoover quarterback Dane Hatfield, who had a great game against Sissonville. The numbers aren't really that eye-popping, but Hatfield is just one of those kids that's always in control. He usually makes the right decision and oftentimes just jumps off the screen as the best player on the field, and that was certainly the case on Friday against Sissonville. Hoover jumping out to the big lead early thanks in large part to what Hatfield was doing on the ground. More than 100 yards rushing on just 10 carries, but again, always in control. And Hoover's season, by the way, is starting to look an awful lot like last year. Remember, in 2022, Hoover lost its first 2 games, then won 10 straight and storming all the way to the state championship game. Could we be in for a repeat in 2023? Looking like we might be. Hoover again starting the year 0-2 and now has reeled off 3 straight wins, due in large part to the play of Hatfield, who is the Week 5 HD Media Building and Construction Trades Player of the Week for his performance on Friday against Sissonville.
So there it is, Dane Hatfield, our Week 5 HD Media and Building and Construction Trades of West Virginia Player of the Week. Had a terrific game against Sissonville. 183 total yards, 2 touchdowns. That means he's had 14 total touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. He had 6 against Nitro, he had 6 against Hedgesville, and now he had 2 to pile on to his total on the season and also in the stretch to 14 as well. Again, they'll take on the Chapmanville Tigers coming up during homecoming week over at Husky Stadium coming up on Friday. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to take a quick break. We'll hear from our sponsors, and we will also hear from Joey Fields on the other side of this break coming up here next on the Kanawha Valley Sports Notebook.
Hi, this is JJ Roberts from Huntington, and when I'm back home, you will find me at my local Par-Mar store.
We had that thundering herd pride at your local Par-Mar stores. We are over 200 stores strong and growing. Download the Par-Mar app for even more savings and sign up for the Par-Mar Rewards Card. Whether it's food, gas, or groceries, we have you covered. We are Marshall, and we are Par-Mar stores.
If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon.
Changing world, one thing you can always count on is Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Hurricane. You know, Gene and Ryan built their business the old-fashioned way by making friends. There are no gimmicks or games at Walker, just honest, fair deals, and their method is so straightforward it may shock you. Friendly service and a huge selection of inventory with more arriving daily. When you're ready for your next vehicle, take the short 20-minute drive from Charleston or Huntington to Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, just off the Hurricane exit of I-64. Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, making friends one deal at a time.
We are joined by the head football coach of the Herbert Hoover Huskies, head coach Joey Fields. Coach, welcome to the program.
Hey, Taylor, thanks for having me, man, always.
Absolutely. You guys are having a great season thus far, 3-2 on the season. You guys started 0-2. You've won 3 straight. What's different about your team in these last few weeks?
Well, I don't want to give too much credit for, on our end, but kids are playing really well, and they're working really hard. We're kind of in the same position we were last year, but at this, comparing last year to this year, we're probably in a better position now because we're healthier. We got all our guys in the locker room going out there with us every Friday night, so we feel good about that, and they're getting better. And it's no secret that our team's new every year, So it's kind of, we compare ourselves to Kentucky Wildcats. It kind of takes a little longer to get in the groove, but we talk to our team about they remember November, and I think we're getting better at that goal each day.
Where do you think you guys have made the biggest stride in regards to your all's game? Obviously, you guys struggled offensively in the first 2 weeks. You guys have done terrifically offensively the last few weeks. We'll talk about defense in a second, but offensively, what's been working for you guys lately?
Yeah, I think the struggle the first two games was a credit to the two opponents. Mm-hmm. Scott's a very good football team. Winfield's a very good football team, and obviously we think we've got better, so they probably have as well. But no, I think we're just kind of moving some guys around, figuring out who we are. We started this last year. What we were week 1, we were completely different, say week 5 to even week 10. So it's just figuring out who you got in the locker room, what they can do well, and what their best ability is, and kind of pairing it and matching it all together.
I know you spoke really highly of your offensive line in the preseason, and you guys have been definitely getting the run game going a lot more effectively. We'll talk about Dane in a second, but Dane's numbers recently in the run game has been outstanding. Yeah. Talk about your offensive line's growth. How has that been a focal point for you guys and your all success offensively?
Yeah, it's a lot of guys up there. 3 of them that played a lot of football, played in the state championship game last year. But then the 2 other guys that we have in there, we think we're getting better offensive line wise. Made some adjustments personnel wise, but they're working good together. They got great leadership at that unit, and Coach Smith has done a great job with them. And we compared, last week, a team that we thought we should win, so we were kind of judging them on what we do. What they do is they can't stop us from doing what we do as far as pass protection, where our eyes are, our technique, all those things we can control, and those guys are doing a really good job at that.
On the flip side now, defensively, in your last 3 games, you guys have held opponents to an average of 10 points per game, including 2 opponents below that mark. Defensively, what's been gelling you all? Because I know you guys have some new and fresh faces in there, whether it be from underclassmen coming up, just a mixture of guys. What's been the recipe for success on defense?
Yeah, and last year's team we lost 8 off that team. In the year previous, we lost 8 off that team. So we're replacing a lot of guys defensively, and Coach Meyer does a fantastic job, and all our defensive staff. But it's personnel switches again. Maybe we had some guys out of position, just trying to figure that out, and that's taking time. But secondary's got so much better. We're still trying to find our way at linebacker and defensive line. Sometimes we play good, sometimes we don't. We played those 3 games. You mentioned that. We felt all 3 of those games we should have had shutouts. Probably what kept us from that is our technique and doing our job consistently. We kind of sputter when we get up 14-0. We get 21-0. That's bad qualities of a good team. We try to stress that to them, but no, defensively we're getting better. I see us getting better during the week, and I think you're seeing it on Friday night.
So then along those lines then, what do you think is the ceiling for this year's team? Obviously, we've talked about both sides of the football, but mesh it all together. What is the ceiling for this year's team?
Yeah, I'm not going to shy away from that. I think each year your goal is different. When I first got here, I said I wanted to be judged on improvement, not scoreboard. We ended up being a lot better than what I thought. The following year, we thought we had a good team to win a state championship, so that's what we spoke. Each team's got different goals. Each team's got different ceilings. I think this team's ceiling is to compete and on Thanksgiving weekend and be 4 quarters away from going to a state championship again. I believe that because that's the talent that we have in this locker room. Now, there's a lot to that, Taylor, as you know, is mentality, meshing together, and continuing to get better. And you got to have a little luck and staying healthy. But I like our football team. I do see us getting better. And at this time of the year, there's 2 ways this thing goes. Either you're getting better and you're coming together, or you're staying the same, getting worse, or you're kind of falling apart, no matter what circumstances you go through or what you're faced with. So we got to choose what team do we want to be.
So along that line, though, what is it going to take for you guys to make a deep run into the playoffs this year?
Yeah, we got to get better, consistently in the pass game with the timing. I know I talked to you about that a while back, the timing, and that's a huge practice thing, but I think we're building habits the right way, and you're seeing that on Friday. And then defensively, man, we got to do better at doing our job. We talk about doing our job with max effort, one play at a time. We believe in that. Those are not just words. And but we tell our teams this: what's a successful play? A successful play is all 11 guys doing their job at the same time. We're not always doing that. We'll have 8 guys doing their job. These 3 are doing the wrong thing, or we're out of position, wrong technique, wrong call, so on and so on. So trying to clean it up as a coach, as the coaching staff. But I think more practice, more experience, the better we're going to get with new guys.
Personnel, let's start with the quarterback position with Dane. I mentioned him earlier. He's had an outstanding 3 weeks, 14 total touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. He had 6 total touchdowns in back-to-back weeks against Nitro and Hedgesville. What's been different about his game? Has it been more of him how he approaches practice and games? Is it more of a mental thing? What are you seeing from Dane so far?
Oh, I think those two, you credit that is how he's approaching practice, how he's becoming a leader. Each day he's getting better. Like I'm seeing progress each day with him, not just each game, each day. Even with how he is around his teammates in the locker room, how he is at school. But Dane's a leader, whether he knows that or not, whether he wants that responsibility or not, he is. And then the quarterback is that natural position. But man, he's done so well. You mentioned the touchdowns, but what the biggest thing for me is he's got 1 interception. So he's got 1 turnover in 5 games. And that 1 turnover was there late against Scott. He kind of just trying to throw it away. A kid made a play. So he's making good decisions. But he's a good football player. He's a good leader, and he deserves everything he's got. He's a tough kid that wants to win and wants to play well.
So I'll open the floor up to you now. When you look at your first 5 games, who's impressed you so far? You could say one guy. You could say a mixture of guys. Who's impressed you through your first 5 games?
Well, Blake Fisher's one that comes to mind. That's a sophomore kid. Has been fantastic. What we're asking Zach Greer to do, he would probably played the best defensively for us last year in the state championship run. What we're asking him to do offensively. So Zach Greer, Blake Fisher, but I'm also seeing other guys improve as far as Jalen Sims, Avery Pinnell is improving, Talon Harrison, all new guys. But and then, of course, our steady rock guys with Al Harrison, Cole Johnson, and Brandon Ramos. But, no, I'm seeing a lot of improvement there. We're able to look a lot differently offensively and defensively of what we carry because of their ability and their talents. But it's just getting them to consistently do their job every play throughout the course of a game.
Homecoming week for you guys. You guys will welcome Chapmanville on Friday night. What are you seeing from the Tigers this year?
A very well-coached team. Coach Belcher does a good job. He's been there for a long time. They've always been well-coached. He's close with the Barkers, but they're physical. They want to run the football. They formation you to death. And defensively, they're sound, and they keep everything in front of you. They're a younger team, so that's kind of scary with the years ahead, but they're a good football team, and they're a good football team that can beat us if we're not ready to play. Now, we think we have a good team as well, so I'm excited about homecoming, being with our people, first time here at Husky Stadium. I know a lot of people are coming home, so it should be a great event and a great physical ball game.
Looking at what Chapmanville does from a schematic standpoint, they love to run the football. They ran it consistently against Nitro a few weeks back. You definitely had some guys step up in that game for the Tigers. What's it going to take for you guys defensively to slow down what they do offensively in the run game?
Yeah, our biggest problems have been how we're fitting the run sometimes because we are doing our own thing at times. We're just trying to survive instead of relying on our keys, being disciplined with our eyes and fitting everything the right way. But we've kind of simplified it even more as coaching staff say, here's the 3 things we're asking you to do. If you do those 3 things each play, nothing they do can stop you from doing those 3 things. And if you do, you'll be successful and you'll find yourself around the football. So we're trying to do that, but no, we gotta get better at stopping the run. We've done really good in the past and in the pass game. And most of my team just the other way around. So we think we can still get there in the run. It's just been you look at the teams we played who are throwing the ball around very early. So now you're getting into the bulk of the schedule where teams are run first.
This is going to be a really interesting stretch for you guys because you guys will play Chapmanville this week, Wayne the following week, and then 2 other tough games along the way as well.
Yeah.
What are you wanting to see from your team heading into the latter half of the season?
Yeah, we got to continue getting better. I think practice, that's number one. But we got to continue getting better and hopefully stay healthy. That's obviously a huge part of this game. But what we're doing in practice, last week we didn't show a lot of things that we've been working on, trying to not recreate or reinvent the wheel, but add stuff and get our best players to football.
Couple more for you, and let's talk about homecoming week for you
Yeah.
guys. You mentioned first time here at the brand new football field here at the brand new high school. What do you think that environment's going to be like come Friday night?
I really honestly believe that we have the best high school environment in West Virginia. And I say that because I've been to a lot of places, either scouting, coaching at, playing. We're starting off with dog walk. Then, we enter the stadium, the video board, the show lights, the band, everything that is involved on a Friday night here at Husky Stadium. It's special. So it's exciting. We try to tell our kids, hey, you got to earn that. That can easily be taken away. If you control you have the right attitude and the right effort, we'll continue giving you that as long as you act right and do the right things. But no, it's enjoyable here on Husky Stadium. Our fans deserve it, our community, our student body, and I even worry about it sometimes if now we're going away. Are we going to have that same glitz and glamour? But our kids have enjoyed it. We look forward to every Friday night we get here.
Miko, the new live mascot that you guys have, I think you guys are one of a few schools here in the state of West Virginia that actually has a live mascot.
Yeah, I've seen your research on that. Are we the?
I know Martinsburg is one of them.
Yep.
I think North Marion's done a Husky before, I
Yep.
believe. I could
Yep.
be wrong, but you definitely have seen. I think
That's
I had
cool.
somebody
Very
sent me. Funny enough, somebody from Lincoln
Yeah.
sent me a picture of them actually having a live cougar at one of their games at one point. So
Wow.
we're not going that extreme, but
Now, here's the deal. If St. Albans somehow finds a dragon, that will be, that will outdo us. But no, it's
Buffalo with the bison too.
Exactly. But it was really cool for Miko to be here and his owners, Kayla and Justin there. But it was a cool experience. I know our fans ate it up, and that's going to be a consistent tradition here at Husky Stadium, which is fun.
And finally, we're sitting in this brand new field house that you guys have. Outside is the brand new facility with the brand new high school. Put this all together, just kind of put into perspective what this means, not only for you guys as a team, but also for this community and the high school in general.
Yeah, I think it's only going to get better. It's almost like a new home. You just moved in, but you're not quite. It's only going to get better, and our kids deserve it. And myself and so many other people have worked really hard to give them everything that they do deserve and work hard towards. But no, it's a beautiful place, and it's a special time to be part of Herbert Hoover High School.
That is head coach Joey Fields of the Herbert Hoover Huskies. Coach, I appreciate your time as always. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler.
Absolutely. Up next, we'll talk more about this Friday night here in the state of West Virginia, coming up next here on the Kanawha Valley Sports Notebook.
Hi, this is JJ Roberts from Huntington, and when I'm back home, you will find me at my local Parmar store.
We had that thundering herd pride at your local Parmar stores. We are over 200 stores strong and growing. Download the Parmar app for even more savings and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. Whether it's food, gas, or groceries, we have you covered. We are Marshall, and we are Parmar stores.
If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Changing world, one thing you can always count on is Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Hurricane. Gene and Ryan built their business the old-fashioned way by making friends. There are no gimmicks or games at Walker, just honest, fair deals, and their method is so straightforward it may shock you. Friendly service and a huge selection of inventory with more arriving daily. When you're ready for your next vehicle, take the short 20-minute drive from Charleston or Huntington to Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, just off the Hurricane exit of I-64. Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, making friends one deal at a time.
Rolling along here in our final segment here on the Kanawha Valley Sports Notebook. I appreciate you joining me, however you may be listening or watching this program. Thank you, as always. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify as well, along with many, many other podcast platforms as well. So go find us wherever you get yours as well. So as I mentioned in our first segment, now that we are in our final segment, let's look at the Week 6 slate regarding Kanawha Valley teams across the great state of West Virginia. A lot of teams are playing here in the southern portion of the state, so let's look at that now, shall we? And we'll start with the matchup between the Capital Cougars and the Cabell Midland Knights. The 32nd meeting between these two. Capital leads the series 19-12 all time. Cabell Midland has won the last 3 meetings, and that should be a great game down in Cabell County. Cabell Midland's actually coming off a win over Parkersburg, who was ranked in the top 3 regarding the SSAC playoff index. So Parkersburg lost to Midland last week. We'll talk about Parkersburg now because they are actually welcoming the George Washington Patriots, and this is the 26th meeting all-time. GW leads the all-time series 15-11. GW has won 11 of the last 13 games against the Big Reds. Speaking of an absolute one-sided affair as of late, that is the Huntington Highlanders against the Riverside Warriors. Huntington has won the last 9 meetings against the Warriors. Huntington leads the all-time series 10-8, making this game on Friday night, which the game I will be at, the 19th meeting between the Highlanders and the Warriors. Moving along now, going back to the western portion of the state, we're going to go back to Mason County and the South Charleston Black Eagles, who travel to Spring Valley to take on the Timberwolves for the 24th time all-time. And Spring Valley leads the all-time series 15-8. Spring Valley has won the last 8 meetings against South Charleston. Coming back to Kanawha County, and as I just mentioned in our last segment, it's homecoming week for the Herbert Hoover Huskies, and they will welcome the 3-2 Chapmanville Tigers. This is the 16th meeting all-time between the Huskies and the Tigers. Chapmanville leads the all-time series 9-6. However, Hoover has won the last 2 meetings against the Tigers. Going to Putnam County now, as the Polka Dots will welcome the Sissonville Indians for the 74th meeting between these two historic programs. Sissonville leads the all-time series 36-35 with 2 ties. Polka has won 3 of the last 4 meetings against the Indians. And then finally, our final game regarding a team here in the Kanawha Valley, that is the Buffalo Bison, as they will welcome Eastern Ohio to Putnam County for the 5th time all-time. And this is the first meeting between these two schools since 1997. However, Buffalo leads the all-time series 3-1, and the Bison are still looking for their first win of the season. Again, you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube as well. We're on Amazon Podcasts. Again, wherever you find your podcast, I promise you we will more than likely be there. You can follow me on Twitter at Taylor_Kennedy7 for all the latest about this show and much more going on across the Kanawha Valley. Stay tuned on Thursday for our new edition of 40-Yard Dash. I won't give away our guest quite yet because it's going to be another great week as well for that series. So again, follow the Gazette Mail on Twitter at Gazette, at Gaz, G-A-Z, Mail Sports. And you can do that just by simply going to Twitter and typing that again, or just typing in Gazette Mail Sports. Boom, it's right there. Simple as that. You can also follow the Gazette Mail on Facebook as well, just by typing in Charleston Gazette Mail as well. So again, 40-Yard Dash coming up on Thursday, and I will see you all next week for another edition of the Kanawha Valley Sports Notebook. I will see you then, and as always, stay safe and tell someone you love them.